Somadina stepped into the forest, and the air changed. The trees were tall, too tall, twisting into the sky like the fingers of ancient giants. The sun dimmed, though it was only mid-morning. All around him, shadows danced like spirits whispering secrets. He walked carefully, heart steady. Every step deeper felt like stepping into another world. His mother's words echoed in his mind, "When you hear drums in the distance, don't run. Don't speak. Don't even breathe too loudly. Pluck the uziza leaf from your pouch, chew it, and hide." The forest doesn't just test your strength, it tests your memory. As the shadows deepened, a sudden rhythm rose in the distance. Dum, dum, dum dum dum, dum, dum. Slow, heavy drums, beating like the footsteps of something old. Not human. Somadina froze. He could feel the drums in his chest, his bones. He didn't panic. He reached into his pouch, pulled out a small uziza leaf, and chewed it bitterly, letting the dew settle under his tongue. Then he crept behind the nearest tree, thick and moss-covered, and held his breath. The drums grew louder. And then, they passed. Not played, not carried, but walked past. He saw them, the drums themselves, walking. Beaten by invisible hands. Floating above the ground, yet stomping heavily like warriors. The air around them was smoky, and the trees bowed slightly as they passed. Somadina did not move. When the sound faded, and the trees were still again, he stepped out, trembling slightly. But his eyes were calm. His mother had prepared him well. By dusk, the forest grew colder. The chirping of birds had stopped. Even the insects seemed afraid to sing. Somadina found a hollow beneath the roots of an old iroko tree, wrapped himself in his cloth, and tried to rest. He placed his flute by his side, as always. But rest never came. Somewhere between sleep and awareness, he heard it. Snap. Crunch. Slither. He opened his eyes. At first, he thought he was dreaming. But what he saw made his heart slam against his ribs. Before him stood creatures, not one, not two, but a small crowd. Some were tall as trees with no heads, only necks that smoked like firewood. Some had no faces, just skin stretched over blank bone. One was just a pair of walking legs, hopping like a toad but fast, too fast. Another had 1,000 fingers instead of a mouth. They didn't walk. They twitched, floated, glided. They didn't speak. But Somadina could hear something inside his skull, laughter, crying, whispers, all at once. He wanted to scream. He wanted to run, but again, his mother's voice returned, "If you ever see the ones that do not belong in this world, play your flute, my son." Not a song of fear, but of truth. The spirits love honesty. So with shaking hands, Somadina picked up his flute. He closed his eyes. And he played. Not a song he had learned, not one from the village. He played how he felt. The pain of being rejected. The softness of his mother's love. The ache of hunger. The hope still alive in his chest. The flute sang. Somadina's fingers trembled as he played, but his heart poured into the song. The melody floated through the haunted forest like a river of light. The creatures, grotesque and shapeless, began to move. The leg creature hopped in rhythm. The headless one swayed. The faceless beings clapped their elongated hands. Even the one made entirely of fingers twisted and spun like a leaf in the wind. It was terrifying. It was beautiful. They danced. All of them. Somadina played until his arms ached, and when the last note faded into the darkness, there was silence. Then the faceless one stepped forward and spoke in a voice that echoed like 10 people talking at once, "You must come with us. Our leader must hear the sound of the boy with the flute." Before he could protest, the beings circled him. The mist thickened, and the ground felt like it moved beneath his feet. Then, all at once, the trees parted, revealing a glowing grove with a massive throne made of bones, feathers, and woven vines. On the throne sat Ezumezu, the ancient leader of the forest. His body shimmered like smoke. His face was a blend of man, beast, and spirit. One moment he looked like Somadina's father. The next, like a lion. The next, like the wind itself. The creatures bowed and spoke all at once. He played the song, Great One. The music of truth. The music of sorrow. The music of a pure heart. Ezumezu turned to Somadina, eyes glowing like embers. Boy, sing it again. Somadina swallowed. His hands were still trembling. But he obeyed. He lifted the flute and played. This time, he was not afraid. He closed his eyes and played for his mother, the woman who suffered, who sacrificed, who loved him into strength. He played for the little room behind the compound. For the hunger. For the dignity they still carried in the face of cruelty. He played for hope. And again, the spirits danced. But this time, so did Ezumezu. The leader rose from his throne and spun in the air like smoke in a storm. The sky above the grove lit up with invisible stars. Even the trees seemed to sway to the melody. When the song ended, silence fell like snow. Ezumezu smiled, a wide, strange smile. You must stay here, boy. We've never heard a song like that. You belong here, with us. Somadina fell to his knees. Please. I beg you, my mother, she's waiting for me. She's all I have. She sent me here not knowing if I would ever come back. I must return. Please. Ezumezu's smile faded. He stared at the boy for a long time. Whispers filled the air. Some spirits begged the leader to keep him. Others pleaded for mercy. It felt like time itself had stopped. Finally, the great leader nodded. Very well, because your heart is clean and your music is pure, I will let you go. But I will not send you back empty-handed. He rose and beckoned Somadina to follow him through a tunnel of light. At the end of the path was a clearing, and on the ground were dozens of calabashes, some small, some large, some glowing, some dull. Ezumezu pointed. Pick one. Only one. When you get home, take your mother into your hut. Lock the door. Break the calabash. Whatever you see will be yours. Somadina looked at all the calabashes. His eyes went to the biggest one, which shimmered like gold. But something inside him whispered, that's not the one. His eyes moved to a small, quiet calabash. It had no glow. No shine, just simple brown clay with a tiny carved spiral. He picked it up. Ezumezu smiled again. Go, child of music. And remember, not all riches can be seen. Somadina bowed deeply, tears in his eyes. Thank you all. The spirits waved. The air swirled. The forest shimmered once more. And with his small calabash cradled to his chest, Somadina began the long journey home. By the time Somadina returned to the compound, the moon had risen. He went straight to his mother's hut. Mother, he whispered, holding the calabash. It is time. Neko locked the door gently. The room was dark, but Somadina's heart was full of light. They both knelt beside the calabash. With one deep breath, he raised it and smashed it against the ground. Crack! The calabash shattered, and what poured out made their eyes widen in disbelief. Bags of cowries. Coins. Gold trinkets. Anklets. Fine wrappers. Beads. Jewels. Ancient carvings. Chest of silver. It didn't stop, it flowed like a river of wealth. Neko gasped. She touched her lips with both hands, eyes wet with tears. Muodi, she whispered. The spirits are real. From that night, their lives changed. Somadina bought farmlands, large, fertile lands beyond the hills. He built a mansion with deep brown walls, wide windows, and tall pillars, right in front of the old compound, for him and his mother. He dressed her in soft George wrappers, fine anklets that jingled as she walked, and head ties so grand that women in the market stopped to stare. He hired servants, gave to the poor, and never once raised his voice. He still played his flute every morning. The village buzzed with gossip. Did you hear? Somadina is now richer than even Chief Okari. They say it was forest spirits that gave him wealth. But none watched with more burning eyes than Edoora.